This is what I will do in the last days. I will pour out my spirit on everybody and cause your sons and daughters to prophesy. And your young men will see visions, and your old men will experience dreams from God. Dreams from God. I want to go ahead and let you know that this message was inspired by a song that we're going to be singing in just a little bit. And we've sang this song before. This is a new song, and this song is called More Than Able. I want to read to you the lyrics just at the beginning of the song, and something about this really resonated with me and kind of birthed this message into me. So let's go from the beginning. It says, "When did I start to forget all of the great things you did? When did I throw away faith for the impossible? How did I start to believe that you weren't sufficient for me? Why do I talk myself out of seeing miracles?" And then it goes into the chorus, says, "You are more than able. You are more than able." And then it goes on to say, "Who am I to deny what the Lord can do? Who am I to deny what the Lord can do?" Over the past few years, and maybe everyone in this room can relate to this, but there's been a lot go on. I mean, there's been a lot go on in our world, obviously. I think that goes without saying. But then there's been a lot go on in my family in particular. And maybe that is, maybe you can relate to that. Maybe there's been a lot go on in your career, in your job, in your life, in your relationships, in your friendships, whatever the case may be. But I know in my family in particular, we've had, unexpected death. We've had, or unexpected deaths, plural, health issues, a lot of unfortunate breaks, I would say. And even the operating of this church alone has been a struggle in and of itself at times. Like, there's just been a lot going on. And honestly, most of it, I would say, hasn't really calmed down. Like, it hasn't gotten to a stopping point. A lot of it has continued in a lot of ways, and there's still a lot of challenges, which I'm sure, as I was saying, that a lot of you, or maybe each of you, can attest to in your own personal journey, in your own life. But I've come to this realization. I didn't come to have a pity party with you tonight. I actually want to encourage you. I want to tell you something encouraging tonight. So I've come to this realization that you and I, we have this pattern. We have this cycle as Christians when it comes to the challenges that we face in life. And it goes like this. Things are good, then things get bad, and we panic. And it's like we're riding on an airplane, and we're sitting back in coach in our seats, and all of a sudden we hit some turbulence in life, or maybe it's a little bit more than turbulence. Maybe, the little mask comes down in front of you, and you think you're about to crash. Maybe it's a lot more than that, and we immediately panic, and we rush to the cockpit, and we try to take control of the wheel of our own life. And suddenly, the way that we relate to God changes. Like I said, maybe he was in the cockpit, he was the pilot, he was the captain, but then we hit a little bit of turbulence or whatever it was in life, and we rush and we try to become that captain of our own ship or airplane, whatever you like to ride in. But it becomes this thing that I'm going to call tonight a transactional relationship. So recently, during these summer months, I don't know how this happened, honestly, but me and my siblings, really anybody in the family. We've all played at one point or another. But we're playing a lot of basketball right now in the driveway. We've gone full force back like I was in middle school all over again. My dad's put the goal in the ground, put cement around it, like it's gotten intense once again. We're playing very intense games of cat. And let me tell you something. They live on 803 West Wall Street. If you ever want to get in on some of these games and you just happen to be driving by and you see us in the driveway, just pull up and play some cat with us. You may get beat, but we'll have some fun. Anyways, getting back to it, we're playing a lot of cat. So cat is horse, but a shorter game, if you know what horse is. And we've just been doing this a lot during the summer months. We're having a lot of fun. We played again last night. We played for hours, honestly. The girls get sick of it at times. They play too, but sometimes, like last night, they're like, "Are y'all done yet?" But I started this thing, and I don't know where it came from. I guess it was like this. So we were playing cat, and one night, I believe it was my mom and Ivy were like, "All right, we've had enough. Levi, I'm ready to go home. I'm going to leave you if you don't come on." And me and my dad at that point are still playing on this particular night. And I just come up with this idea that I'm going to do this crazy shot, and I'm going to say, if I make this, then you blank, whatever. So at that particular time, it's like, if I make this, you got to let me play one more game. Or you have to get in and play the next game. So that was one night. And we did it like that, and we just kept going. Well, then another night, we get Gage and Shelby in on this too. And they're all the girls are sitting around, the patio, and we're sitting there playing, and we're like, if I make this, then you. So the girls would give us like their version of the bet. If you miss this is what you got to do. And we're like, if we make this is what you got to do. And I don't even remember what some of the bets were, but Ivy, oh yes, the girls, this is, all right. Yeah, gauges are hilarious. So the girls, they go extreme immediately. Like, if you miss this, you owe me $100. I'm like, where did that come from? Like, that's expensive. I don't want to pay you $100. This is one shot. But they go all in from the beginning. And then us guys, we're trying to think through it, and Gage is like, if we make it, you got to go to the movie with me. I'm like, Gage, that's not punishment. What are you doing? You're still paying $100 for that, just so you know. That was Gage's idea, and then he said something about Taco Bell. I don't remember. Matching henna tattoos, yes. He did have some creative ideas. I know mine eventually became, if I made it, Ivy had to pull for Tennessee versus Georgia. She don't like college football in general. I was like, you have to pull for Tennessee versus Georgia, and then there was something else. Yes, you have to wear a Tennessee shirt. And, of course, I missed it. I didn't give her $100. That's the end of that story. That was not the point. Listen, the point is that we were playing this game of transaction. And I was thinking about that, and that's fun, and we're going to continue to do that. Hopefully, I'll win some money eventually. But that it tends to be where we've gone in our relationship with God a lot of times. It's this if I, then you with God. If I speak positively over my circumstance, if I believe you can change the outcome, if I just keep the faith, then you will. We get in this headspace of it's a transaction with God. We somehow convince ourselves that God is like a currency, that He is like our money, like our credit card. Like this is the cost, and then you swipe it, and then this is the service that you get for swiping, and this is the transaction that takes place. And somehow we get to that point in our relationship with God. And what happens is, more times than not, we have the hope. We stay believing for the best. We naively convince ourselves things are going to work out whenever these bad circumstances in our life arise. And then, in this cycle, in this pattern that I'm referring to, every time it doesn't, and we've had this hope, and we kept believing, and we did become convinced that things would work out, when it doesn't, we tend to lose a little piece of ourselves every time. And maybe this has happened in your own life. But it gets to the point that every time we lose a little bit more of ourselves, and we become skeptical, we become cynical, we become defensive. Cynical as in, what's the point? We already know what's going to happen. God's in control. God has the final say. What's the point? Why not, we say things like this, why not just not have any expectations, then I can't get hurt? You ever heard somebody tell you that? Just don't have any expectations, and then you can't get disappointed. And we get this, we say phrases like, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Or we say things like this, I will never allow someone to treat me like that again. Oh, I learned my lesson this time. Well, never trying that again. These are all phrases that become a part of our everyday life. We lose our sense of wonder. We lose our childlikeness. And this becomes our relationship with God, especially in times of hardship. And everything becomes calculated and everything becomes measured. And it just hit me the other day that I feel like, first of all, I'm first to admit, I've gotten to that point. Still struggle with a lot of those things that I'm talking about. But it hit me the other day that we just missed the point. This life is actually not meant to be lived so cautiously. And our faith isn't about the results, the outcome, the thing that we're pursuing, the thing that we're hoping for, praying for, believing for. It's actually not about that at all. And that line in the song, it's what really caught my attention. Who am I to deny what the Lord can do? Let me ask you, and you ask yourself this as I say this, who am I to say prayer doesn't work? Who am I to explain how prayer does or doesn't work? Who am I to act like I have mastered this faith based off my experiences, or act like it's some sort of fixed science based on my limited experiences in the things that have happened in my own life? Who am I to deny what the Lord can do? The truth is, and this song says it, the truth is, God is able. He is more than able, is what the song says. Nothing, if you think about it, that is the point, that is the purpose. Nothing is impossible with God. The whole point of it all is actually not our outcome, our results, what we anticipate, what we expect. It's actually not that point at all. The point is, He's able. He is able. His ability is the point. His ability is what makes Him God. He is worthy to be praised because He is able, not because He does or does not deliver, but because He is the only one with the capabilities to deliver. That's what sets Him apart. He's able. And here's the thing we've got to grasp, because we struggle with this. Because when we're in our hardships, when we're in our battles, when we're in our tough times, and we're believing for the best and we're hoping for the best, and things don't go our way, we tend to struggle with, and we try to make sense of it, or, maybe this is not what it means, or maybe this is not who God really is. But here's the thing. One of the perks to being God is you get to do what you want and you don't have to answer to nobody. And that's actually tough for us to deal with. Psychologically, that's a lot for us to handle. To actually take that in and be like, oh, God didn't heal my loved one when I was praying for it. Oh, God didn't give me the job. Oh, God didn't do this when I had all my hopes and dreams and my investments and all my money poured into this. It didn't work out. That's a really tough pill to swallow. But the thing that makes him God is that he gets to do whatever he wants. It doesn't have to make sense to you, and it doesn't determine whether he's good or not. Just the ability to do what he wants is what makes him God and what makes him good. He is able. He is able. How God responds to your hopes, to your prayers, to your beliefs, to your aspirations, to your dreams does not determine his God status. And it does not, catch this, it does not serve as a case study for Christians either. Because that's what we do, right? We take our limited, finite experiences, our negative experiences, our positive experiences, we concoct them into this case study like we're scientists trying to understand God. Well, if you do this, but you don't do this, if you pray this way, if you understand that prayer means this, and it's not just about asking and then receiving, it's actually about you. And, we try to connect all these dots and we try to make sense of it for people, and it acts as a case study about who God is and what he's about and whether or not he delivers. And we try to make it all about these things, but the point is, he's able. He's able. Period. That's what makes him God. That's what sets him apart, is he is the one that can raise the dead bones to life again. He is the one who can heal the sick. He is the one that can give sight to the blind man. He is the one that can walk on water. He is able. He is able. But it doesn't always mean that he'll do what he's able to do. But it does not change that he is good and that he is God. But we treat it like this, and then we sing the songs, and we sing the part of this song it's going to get to, because we're going to sing it, like I said, just in a moment. But part of the song, the lyrics say this, and I haven't sang it or haven't said it yet. It says, "Can you imagine, with all the faith in the room, what the Lord can do?" And based on our experiences and based on our past and based on everything that's happened in our life, then we start to think to ourselves, well, he can do whatever he wants. He isn't swayed by how much faith or how little faith there is in the room. He is God. He's going to do whatever he wants. It's that cynical, way of thinking again. But who am I? What is the basis for that kind of thinking? Who is to say that God can't be moved by much faith? Yet at the same time, who is to say that God can't be moved by little faith? These are just things that have been on my mind lately. The thing that we have to do, I believe, is we have to take a step back. Because maybe you're sitting here right now and you're in your seat and you're thinking, Levi, this is really a lot for me to even make sense of in my life. But that's the point. Don't try to make sense of the words that I'm telling you. That's not the point at all. We're not supposed to try to make sense of who God is. We need to allow God to be God and not concern ourselves with trying to make sense of him and trying to calculate him and trying to measure him and trying to make sense of all the things that he does or does not do. Let him be God. And instead, here is my plea to you. Here's the call to action. Here's what you can do. We can live out fully convinced of Ephesians chapter 3 and verse 20. Look at this verse with me. It says this. It says, "Never doubt God's mighty power to work in you and accomplish all this. He will achieve infinitely more than your greatest request. your most unbelievable dream, and exceed your wildest imagination. He will outdo them all, for his miraculous power constantly energizes you. I think this is the verse that what I was describing, the people that we become when we go through this pattern of trying to make sense of who God is, this is the verse that we waver the most from. This is in the back of our minds. Ephesians 3:20 is not one that we memorize when we become the person who's skeptical, who's cynical, who has it figured out. Well, what's the point? We're all just going to die eventually anyways. This is the last thing that we think about. We don't think about never doubt God's mighty power. We're like the first in line to doubting God's power. Well, let me tell you what happened to me, Yeah, you can believe like that, but just know that when we say things like this and we carry ourselves like this, but what if, this is the point of tonight, what if we got fully convinced again? What if we got caught up again? What if we became like little children, always fully convinced that God can and that God will do the big thing? And we didn't doubt it, but we got so naive that we became persuaded nothing is beyond his reach. He is able. What if that became our mindset once again? What if we believed like that? What if no illness, no sickness, no anything was too big for God? Because you know why I'm making this plea to you? It's not about you believing that you get the outcome that you want. It's not about you getting the job. It's not about the person being rose from the dead. And it's not about your loved one being healed of the cancer. That's not the point at all. Because I've preached about this forever and I'll continue to preach about this. The point is heaven. And in the end, we all win. And in the end, we're all healed. That's incredible. That is the point. But the here and now, what is this verse trying to convince you of? Don't be the cynical person. Don't be the skeptical person. Be the person that's fully convinced that he is able. That he can do exceedingly and abundantly more than you could ever ask or think. Why is that important? Not that he will do it, but the important part is that you could get captivated in that kind of God again. What could thinking about God like that do for your everyday life? How could that change your Monday through Friday? Heck, for that, Saturday and Sunday too. How could that change your everyday life? I'm asking myself this. I'm not mad, I'm passionate. Like I'm happy, passionate. But how could that change our lives? If we got fully caught up again like little children running up to dad and just fully convinced that dad has always got our best interest in mind and he can do whatever he wants and he will do whatever he wants and he never fails me. He's always good. He's always on my side. He is for me. What if we got fully caught up and convinced about God like that again? It could change things. I really believe it could change our everyday life. That's the thing that we've gotten so cynical about, is because we did believe about God that way. We did believe so strongly that he was the God that could do whatever that we asked or believed or we prayed for. And then we asked, we believed, we prayed for it, and then he didn't. So then we're like, oh, he's not that God. And then we try to make sense of it because we thought the point was getting the outcome, getting the result. But no, the point was, it can change you if you believe that there is a God that is so big, so grand. He's a star breather. He's a heart beater. He puts blood in bones or blood in bodies, and he pumps oxygen through your lungs. Like, this is who he is, that he's this grand, that he's this big. This could change everything for us. And that's what I want to sing about right now. I want to sing about a God who is able. Because it says at the end of that verse, for his miraculous power constantly energizes you. That's the point you got to catch. It says constantly. So if it was about the outcome, if it was about the result, if it was about you getting what you prayed for, it wouldn't say constantly. Because the truth is, and God knew this when he put this in here, he knows that when you don't get what you want, you're going to lose energy. But the reason he says constantly is so that you'll get that the point's not about your outcome. The point is about him. He's the point. He's the purpose. Stay focused. Stay looking forward. It's actually not about your outcome, but it's about you believing in a God that's big enough to save the people around you, to save your family from hell, to save this city from dying. Like that he's big enough, he's able, that he can go search out and find the people that you never thought of, the people that you never thought would be in this room, and he is able to get them here and to save their soul and them get healed forever. That's what it's talking about. That's exciting because then it's a win-win. And it's more than just the outcome of what you wanted and what you prayed for. It's actually an eternal outcome. And now everybody gets in on it, and everybody's healed, and everybody wins. If God is able, that means more than the outcome. His ability is much more than the outcome. His ability means something for everybody. Your outcome means something for you. So let's go back to our first verse in Acts chapter 2, verse 17. And it says, this is what I'll do in the last days. So, all right, me and you, we're in the picture. Here we go, last days. Everybody thinks the last days are now. So, let me tell you, today's more last day than yesterday. So, we'll consider this last days. I'll pour out my spirit on everybody and cause your sons and daughters to prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will experience dreams from God. All right, what does this mean? What does it mean? Let's start with young people. What's the thing with young people? And I think that I'm consider myself still a young person. So something that young people, I'll speak for us, struggle with the most, I would say, in life is we can't see past what's right in front of us. Everything seems like such a big deal. Like, this moment is so huge. And that is even more prevalent, I guess, the younger you go. Like, right here is everything. I mean, you could go all the way down to Selah, and Selah is like obsessed with whatever's right in front of her for 5 seconds, and then it goes to the next thing. But like, that is everything in that moment. She's not thinking about the future. She doesn't even have the ability to do that yet. It's just whatever's in that moment. That's why she's hysterically crying if something doesn't go her way. It's because that moment matters. She's not thinking about the fact that in 5 seconds, that moment can be dealt with and things are going to be okay again. If she could, then she wouldn't cry probably. So young people can't see past what's right in front of them. All right, let's go to the old people. What is it for old people? They can't see over the past. So young people can't get past what's right in front of them. Old people can't get past the past. And they like to call it wisdom, but if they're honest with themselves, truth is, a lot of it's regret. We call it wisdom because we're like, they have experience, they've lived life, they've seen things, and they know. But a lot of it is just pure regret. So what is this verse telling us? It's telling us that young people will start to see past the moment. Young people will start to see things past the moment, past what's right in front of them. And old people whose dreams have been driven out by life, who had dreams but they've turned to regret because life and experience has just gotten in the way, and life has just driven out those dreams, and now they're just waiting for the end. Old people will begin to dream again. So the young people will see past the moment, and the old people will begin to dream again. What is this telling us here? It's telling us that the life of a Christian is not meant to be playing it safe. The life of a Christian is not to be proceeding with caution. That we're not meant to live this life only concerned with safety and security and investing and savings and holding on to things. And constantly worried about our future, or constantly caught up because of the past that we can't even see past what's right in front of us, or that we become so cynical and so skeptical that we can't see what is beyond the moment, that we can't even believe in a God who's able. It's telling us that in the last days, which are these days, which are what we are being invited into, church, it's telling us that the vision of the church is not playing it safe. It's not hoarding. It's not withholding. It's actually jumping out there and taking every risk possible. Living life beyond the moment. Dreaming dreams, having vision, believing that a God who created this entire world, who breathed us into existence, who created this world with all the cultures in it, with all the diversity in it, with all the races in it, with all the different nationalities, with all the different languages in it, with the entire animal kingdom in it. It's believing beyond what we've lived in and believing He is able to do it again. He is able to do more than what life has driven out. My age does not determine what God can do and what God can't do. I'm pleading with you tonight. We've got to get back on the bandwagon that is this church, that is the vision of the church, that believes recklessly that God is able to do more. That is what He's calling us into. And it's the only way this faith works. This faith actually don't work playing it safe. Because you know what happens? Here's what we do. Let me just, I'm not trying to make fun of anybody. I'm saying I do this myself. This is what we do though. We live our whole life. We have our bad experiences. We get more cynical, more skeptical. Things don't go our way. The outcomes we don't get. So then we try to, measure and calculate the way that we're going to live our life and relate to God. And I'm going to pray this way. And I know that prayer's for me. It's not to get my prayers answered. And I'm going to make sure that I just, cross my T's, dot my I's. I'm going to make sure I do everything the right way. And then we live our lives and we don't really have much hope or much expectation. And then we just get to the end and guess what? We die. And if you would have done it the other way, guess what? If you risk it all, you're still going to die. You know why it don't work playing it safe? Because this ain't the point. Earth is not the point. It's not the purpose. It's not the end. This too shall pass. This will end. This is coming to an end. All your savings, all your money, all your investing, it's incredible, but God thinks it's adorable. Your $1 billion idea, your big business. God loves Mosteller Media, but guess what? That is going to fade. It is going to fail me in the end. Everything I'm doing right now is great for the life that I have. Wonderful. But it could be gone tomorrow. And then what? Did I live my life on the edge, making sure that the kingdom of heaven was more full? That's the goal for us. That is life for us. It's dreaming dreams. It's having vision. It goes beyond just what we can see in the here and now. This life is great, but it is nothing in comparison to eternity. That is the goal. That is the point. That is the purpose. You are never going to see me get up here and preach anything else. This life is about heaven. It's about eternity. That's all it is about. And God is pleading to the church, do not proceed with caution. Do not play it safe. Risk all that you have. Give all your money away. Serve all that you can. Invite everybody you can. Love on everybody you can. That is our life. That is our purpose. It's not about withholding. It's not about withholding. So stop playing it safe. Stop playing it safe. So here's how we're going to end. We're going to go back to that song, but there's a latter part. And that's the way I wanted to do my message tonight. This is the way I want to live my life. I want to live my life waking up every day, realizing that His mercies are new today. And today He's more than able. Today He can do exceedingly and abundantly more than ever I could think or ask or request of Him. He is more than able. And then, you know what I want to do next? All right, God, you're not done with me yet. What are you going to do? This is the next call to action for you. We're going to sing the rest of this song. The lyrics go, He's not done with me yet. He's not done with me yet. Though your age may tell you He's done with you, He's not done with you yet. There's so much more to your story, to my story. There's so much more to this story. That's what it says. So we're going to sing that, and we're going to sing it up to God. We're going to say, God, do with my life what you want to do. I'm tired of living life withholding, scared, afraid, safety, security. I want to let loose. I want to risk it all. Because it's here today and gone tomorrow. You're not done with me yet. There's so much more to this story, and you're more than able to see it through to completion. And here's what I'll tell you. Because we're all going to die, and because that's inevitable, you know how it can change your everyday life if you're not the skeptical and cynical person and you just blindly believe that God will do whatever, or that He can do whatever? You know when it doesn't work out and you're the person that was believing for it, you were the person that was speaking it, you know when it doesn't work out, people are going to laugh. You know? Look at them. They should have prepared for this moment, you know. They sold their whole life savings to go out and serve the Lord. You'd think they'd have this figured out. They're going to have a few laughs at you, you know. But man, not that you're going to be laughing because you're going to feel sorry at that point. But we get in the last laugh, you know. Heaven gets the last laugh. Live your life on a trajectory that goes beyond your grave.